family life. And as it is explained in Islam, there are certain aspects which are of importance because upon this depends the happiness of a household. A household which is not happy, a family which has problem at home, where man and wife have not been able to understand each other, is a social problem because although it is first limited into four walls, it is bound to go beyond the four walls and affect many lives and many families. That, of course, is a horizontal dissipation of the unrest at home. But vertically speaking, the unhappiness at home and the discord in family life can affect even your own children and your own grandchildren. That way, vertically we are affected, and horizontally a society is totally affected. Because of this, I thought it was important that we spoke of marriage life, how to prepare our young sons and daughters for their marriages is an important subject because Islam has got a lot to say about it. There is one misunderstanding which I have come to learn from the conversation we carry on, that the girls and the ladies feel that these lectures are only addressed to them, that we are only trying to address ourselves to the problems of the wives. But that is not true, because it's not only the wife who will make the household, it is husband and wife, and therefore we have got a lot to tell for the husbands as well. It's not at all confined to the women. And inshallah today I will touch upon certain aspects, hoping to complete this series next Friday, and thereafter we go to something else. But in my tonight's lecture, there might be certain things which may not sound very palatable and very useful as far as the Western civilization is concerned. But of course I have got to make myself very clear that I do not speak with any recourse to the Western teachings. I speak with what Islam has taught. And it is my challenge that after having lived in the society here and elsewhere, I have still found that the Islamic values still obtain. And after having tried all the systems that the world has offered, there has been nothing else but dissatisfaction, except by accepting the methods and the values of Islam. We have gone through all the stages. There was a time when we were so very much enslaved by the Western civilization that we thought everything an Englishman did was correct. His behavior was correct. His way of life was correct. And in our community, there were at times occasions when we thought others to be inferior because they copied less and we copied more. So much so that we thought our children were better educated because they spoke English. Because there were certain households in which English was normally spoken and even encouraged. In other households, not that they did not know English, they knew pretty well, but they spoke the mother tongue. The households where mother tongues were used were supposed to be orthodox households. The modern households were those where boys and girls spoke English. That portrays the slavish mentality which came in the wake of colonialism in many parts of the world. And that obtains even today. Although I personally consider that a language is nothing but a gift of God. Speak in any language makes no difference. But to be proud of a foreign language over your own mother tongue is nothing but a portrayal of slavish mentality. If you really want to be proud of any language for that matter. Don't have to underestimate the other language, because every language is rich with human thoughts. Right. But that was the way how we thought. And gradually, in copying this, we forgot to even teach our daughters and our sons as to what is the meaning of marriage. As the son is preparing himself for marriage, or when the parents insist that now, my boy, you have grown up and we would like you to get married, and the boy is waiting for that day when the father would tell him, because in our days, if the father never said, we used to break things at home so that the parents would then discuss and say, what is wrong with this boy? And then the mother would say, he is breaking matungis. Because he is giving us a hint that the time is now up for you people to think that he must get married. These days, of course, there is no need of breaking the matungis, because the son would rise himself and say, my father, I would like to get married. But there has got to be at least that habit, that way at home, of sitting with the daughter and the son and telling them what the meaning of marriage is. And if it is not there at home, then the community should appoint some elders as officers of the marriage bureau, not for reconciling when the marriage has gone bad. That is another thing altogether. Reconciliatory committee and things, those are other things. Allah may save us and our families from the need of reconciliations. But, of course, it is a necessary evil. No, I'm talking about a committee of elders before the boy or the girl is getting married, so that this acts as an advisory board for those boys and those girls who are entering into a new life. Tell them what will be the responsibility, what will be the meaning of it. In Arabic literature, marriage is sometimes compared to a tin of honey. Why they compare it as a tin of honey? Because in Arabia, whenever they sold honey, they used to cheat. Most of the business people used to cheat. If you open the tin, the first 3 layers are honey. And then the 4th layer is nothing but syrup. And the final one is nothing but molasses. So they used to cheat. They used to say it is just like a can of honey. One of the speakers sitting from Mimbar said, marriage is like a can of honey. In the first 3 layers, it is nothing but honey. And as it goes deeper and deeper, it is nothing but syrup and molasses. That means marriage is nothing but a garden full of roses as it begins for the first few years. And as it goes deeper into life, then you find there is nothing but molasses and syrup. Well, that is their way of comparison. While some speaker was saying this, one man stood up and said, sir, but there is a difference. So what difference? He said, I have opened the tin from the other side. That means it has already begun with the syrup and molasses. Well, you talk of this side where it will start with the honey. In my case, it has begun with molasses. You see? So this is a wrong analogy. This is not correct, because the fact is, and many elders are sitting here, marriage goes on becoming, and I'm using the words which are apt, marriage goes on becoming sweeter and sweeter, more meaningful as you advance in your life. There is nothing like marriage becoming stale. There is nothing like marriage becoming out of date. It goes on becoming more stronger and stronger, sweeter and sweeter as you proceed in life, till there comes a time when husband and wife talk to each other as they approach the decline of life, telling each other, by the grace of Allah, we have lived together well. If I have done anything for you whereby you have been displeased in life, forgive me. And so does the wife. And they look at their children and grandchildren and say, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. In spite of all the ups and downs, we have come to this stage. This is the meaning of marriage. So it is lost. No one tells the daughter or the son as to what it will all mean. When he will come here and sit down, the best man will tell him how to dress up and what tie should match his suit and what socks should be with his shoes and things like that, and perhaps some ceremonies of here and there. At the most, what they ask me or any Maulana or Mullah is, can you teach us that dua which has to be read on the night of marriage? Well, we teach them because that is what the Prophet has taught. But actually I have to teach them dua for the whole life, because it is going to be a life full of new experiences. So where is the difference? In the media, in the press, in the books, the video, the television, a woman who is getting married is portrayed as equal to the man. Equal means totally independent of each other. Getting married, huh? She to have her own desire and will, he to have his own plan and will. These two are living together under one roof as if each was a guest of the other. Can go at any time wherever he likes, can go at any time wherever she likes. And it is on mimbar that I say, because there is a lot of constraint. Otherwise, if we were sitting at a meeting, I would have told you what sort of latitude is allowed, to the extent that one doubts whether it is really a husband, is it really a wife, or is it simply a mistress? But because of mimbar I cannot say, but I do know what is happening. And this impression, if given to my daughter who is going to her husband's house from the very first night, that beta, you are going there, but you are independent, and there is no need to say that you are in any way dependent, is the Western way of teaching. And from there, the first day and the first night starts the assertion and the demands, which goes on multiplying till the point of breakage. That is one way. Islam says, tell your daughter, and this is what the Prophet has said, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. As she goes to her husband's house, tell her, oh daughter, had there been sajda, prostration, wajib for anyone else after Allah, it would have been for your husband. That is what the Prophet said. If it would have been allowed to do sajda for anyone after Allah, it is not allowed. But if, then the Prophet said, لَأَمَرْتُ الْمَرْأَةَ أَن تَسْجُدَ لِبَعْلِهَا. I would have given the order to a woman to do sajda before her husband. It doesn't enter here. Because in Islam, a woman as a wife is taught obedience to her husband. And obedience is not servitude. To be obedient is not to be servant. I will give an explanation. A Jamaat passes a resolution here that if you want to park your cars, please, there are parking cars provided, parks here, there and everywhere. Please don't park somewhere in the forecourt, because there are many others who will find difficulties while they go. Now say there is an elder who is very much respected in this community. Let me say he is the president, the secretary, or whoever, an elder. He comes and parks his car wherever he likes, thinking that he is an elder. That is one way of doing it. Thinking that he is untouchable. No one can do anything because he has his command some respect. That is one way of acting. The other way is that that elder who is most respected, the president, the secretary, whoever, the elder, he is the first to obey the order. And he never flouts, never infringes the laws. He is the one who will straight away take the car to the park. And when a young volunteer, to whom he might not be even acquainted, comes and says, Salaam alaikum, Murabbi, you are not supposed to please park your car here. Will you take your car there? He listens, takes the order from the youngest member of the community. By teaching how to obey, he can expect to be obeyed. This is a secret. You can expect people to obey you when you yourself start obeying. But the moment you don't know how to obey, there is no obedience expected. So the first thing is for the leaders to obey the command, so that those who follow will also obey. This is a secret. In this secret, there is no such thing as servitude or becoming a slave or a servant. When the wife, my daughter, understands this, that to be obedient to her husband does not mean to be her servant, but to create an atmosphere of understanding, whereby by obedience she wins over her husband to an extent that tomorrow when she will say something, the husband will say yes. That is the secret of obedience. And this is how things have gone. There are many elders here. This is how the marriages are successful. This is how people have pulled through. No household can say that we have had no differences. No household can say that we have had no quarrels or squabbles, or we have had no raised voices. Every household has got someday when the voices are raised, but not for the sake of divorce or separation, but for the sake of disagreement which will result in an agreement and increase the bond of love. So teach her that. So the Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I have brought a lesson in respect of women. The Prophet says, I have brought a lesson in respect of women. As a wife, she will obey men, and as a mother, men will obey her. This is the secret. As a wife, she will obey the husband, but when she becomes the mother, then the man will obey her, because under her feet are the gates of heaven. So look at it. When she was a wife, she is taught how to see that the household she's going to live in is a happy one. When she becomes a mother, she might give birth to daughters and sons. Those sons, when they grow up, they are supposed to sit down, and when the mother says something, it must be obeyed. And the Prophet said that for a woman, she is most duty bound to her husband. And as far as men, there is no more duty than that of towards the mother. That means mother has the supreme right over all her children more than the father. She is a woman again. If this is understood, it will diametrically oppose the teachings of the West. Here, a girl goes to her family knowing that she will obey. There, she goes there to assert her right. There, the problem can begin. Here, in most cases, the problem will not begin unless there is injustice. If there is injustice, then of course, there are times when people come in for reconciliation. People get in for making the man understand that he cannot be so unjust. That is one. The Prophet said, whenever you get a proposal on your daughter, see if the man who has proposed is a kufu or not. Kufu means compatible. And the Prophet said, compatibility is in deen and deen. If you found that the boy who has proposed is religious, then he is a kufr to your daughter. Now, so many questions arise. How can a man be a kufr to a woman on the basis of deen when the woman herself has no deen? The woman has got to have a deen first, so that the man becomes a kufr. Similarly, today, anything can be asked about a boy. Does he earn? How much does he earn? What are his hobbies? Does he know how to swim? And things like that. There used to be a time when they used to ask, does he pray? These days, no one asks, does he pray? If you tell him that I have brought a proposal, but the boy does not pray, that is his personal life. I don't mind. That is his personal life. We should mind there, because to give away a daughter to a drunkard, to give away daughter to a gambler, to give away daughter to be-namazi is haram. And in Islam, the proposal can be both ways. This is our culture that we say we must propose. A girl can propose. A girl can propose. A khitbah can be from the girl. Just the same way as Janabi Khadija, salamullah alayha, proposed. She sent a proposal on our Prophet to say that I would like to marry you. The same proposal can come from a daughter. But it has got to come through a proper channel, not a shameless manner. A proposal from either side. The parents of the girls can say that we would like your son to marry our daughter. Think of the proposal. The same way as we do it now. That does not make any difference in Islam. The only thing which is not allowed is that the moment Jamaat has registered engagement, the second day they start working together, going out together. For this, I have always given a word of caution, not because it suits us, because this is Sharia. Please don't allow them to move together. It is haram. They are now mahram. Unless either a sigha of nikah has been read or a sigha of mut'ah has been read. And remember this, let our minds be healthy and clean. To read nikah or to read mut'ah does not necessarily mean a permission for sexual intercourse. In fact, in mut'ah, there can be a condition that there will be no intimacy except that we make them mahram for moving together. That's all. So that there is no guna. 40 years of marriage. You want to know each other. And we have tried this. We have tried. The community has given a test that those who wished to have this knowledge of each other, they tried each other for 1 year. After that, they said, yes, we approve. Perfect. It was really a pair made in heaven. Right? And we read nikah. And after nikah, the trouble began. What happened to that pair which was made in heaven? Because to know each other outside the wedlock is something else, and to know each other inside the wedlock is something else, which people have totally forgotten. And now, you and I, alhamdulillah, have come to this world from the parents who had never seen each other before marriage. Never. I don't recommend that also. But what adversity or calamity has befallen us? Today, Sharia says, and it used to say even then, I mean, if we don't accept something because of our culture, that is something else. But Sharia allowed all the way through, from the time of the Prophet till today, that a boy and a girl have a right to see each other if, there is a very big if the intention is marriage. There can be a very smart boy and say, I want to meet the family. Why? Well, I want to know so that I can get married, right? You take him to the family. The girl is very tall, right? He comes again, I want to see that family. He goes shopping. Under the pretext of marriage, he goes on meeting families and meeting girls and enjoying cups of tea. That we will not do. That is not halal. What is actually jaiz is if a man really wants to get married, and if he has selected a family, he has a right of one sitting with that girl. That girl will be in hijab, but he has a right to look at her. And Agha writes that that right will be exercised for the sake of satisfying oneself that the person is right, that she has no physical faults, defects, that she can understand you, you can discuss anything, and as brief as that was salam and go. That much she has the right to look at you. I sometimes really laugh. I laugh at myself like a madman when somebody, Mulla Sahib, rupadi nathi. And sometimes I would like to take the glass and show it his own face. Bhai sahab, ketla rupada cho? Look at your own features. A man as dark as a charcoal wants a woman so white that if she drinks water, water could be seen from here. The beauty of a person is in the high eyes of a beholder, as they say it correctly. And you don't have to bring all those things here, because the Prophet said, Man tazawwaja imra'atan li jamaliha la yahsul ma yatlub. Whoever actually only marries a woman for the sake of her beauty will never achieve what he wants to achieve, only for the beauty. It must be a happy combination. Beauty with conduct, with akhlaq, with ilm, with hilm, with things like that. Well, this is allowed. After that, what people forget is that on the very first instance, as you meet with each other, on the very first night, inshallah, when the groom and the bride meet, the importance is in telling each other what one should tell. Now, I don't know what to say. So much of a myth is being circulated among young men and women that nobody tells the truth. We have a family, joint family system, where we have father, mother, mother-in-law, father-in-law, and sisters, and whoever in the family, and no one is prepared to tell our young boy that you are going to have the bride in your own house, who will immediately as she enters the household be confronted with the in-laws, with the members of the family, sisters and brothers and babis and nandis. How to maintain the balance between the love towards your wife and the respect towards your parents. Nobody's telling. And most of our problems that we have on our files come from interference, either from this side or from that side. And these interferences portray our mentality, that we think that the wahu who has come, the bahu who has come, the daughter-in-law has come, is a new servant, a maid who will come and assist in the household chores. Or psychologically, if the mother-in-law has had bad time with her husband, then she tries to avenge for that on her sister-in-law, daughter-in-law, and many things. This is the reason why the boys have got to understand that when you get married, there is a right and duty towards your wife, and there is a duty towards your parents. The parents may do whatever They are elderly people sometimes. Sometimes they have their own problems. But if on the very first day the husband can tell his wife that, look, we are made for each other. We want to live with each other. This is our chamber where we will meet. This is our room. You may have any problem outside the room. When we come here, you are for me and I am for you. We shall sail through all the difficulties regardless. Please keep quiet. Respect them, they are elderly. I will listen patiently to whatever problems you have. But I am not going to abandon you. You shall not abandon me. If that is understood, the wife is prepared to put up with all the problems provided the husband is an assuring man. Simple as that. This is Islam, in which the laws were laid down, and I will now end with one hadith from Imam Ja'far Sadiq salawatullah. Because many people have an impression that perhaps the Prophet or Imam have said nothing about the program in married life. Imam al-Islam says, for the wife, there are three things to make her household happy. One, that she must save herself from all the vices and evils, so that the husband may have complete faith in her, that she will not abandon him in good times as well as bad times. It's very important, because a man can have good time and can have bad time, can have financial problems, can have anything. The wife or the in-laws, this has come. It has come to us on several occasions where we are saying, he's not earning anything, so now we are withdrawing our wife, our daughter. You can't withdraw like that. She is not married to her money or his money. She is married to that man. He may have good times and bad times. Imam al-Islam says that there must be a state where the husband has complete faith and loyalty. And remember, I cannot say more from Mimbar, but this word of faithfulness, this word which has been used, faithfulness, is a very important word, where a woman is faithful to her husband and husband is faithful to his wife. Faithful. It's very important. And Imam al-Islam says the woman has to achieve that faith. Good times be or bad, she will not leave you. She is by your side, and no other man can enter the household. No mahram can come and just pick her up and say, I'm going now because you have already become poor, so I'm going with the rich man. That will not happen. Two, to have an understanding and so much of obedience that even there comes a time when you commit errors, he, your husband, should immediately feel like forgiving you before even you ask for forgiveness. That's very important. There is no need for the wife to say, forgive me. Because when the husband knows that there has been umpteenth time of cooperation, one mistake, two mistakes happen, he will forgive before even she asks for forgiveness. Third thing, prepare yourself. Listen to this. Prepare yourself in the best possible manner to become presentable to your husband whenever he enters the house. You enter the house, and the wife has got to be in a presentable state. La'nat and curse is upon a woman who, tries to beautify her face, adorn her body for others to see, while the husband there is always to see you in the kitchen clothes, always smelling of ghee and tel and marcha masala. This is a fact. I say this because there is no one who wants to say this, but this is a fact. When the wife understands that it has got to be a presentable state, the way she comes out in a kushali or she comes out to meet relatives, the same way or nearer to that, she meets her husband and makes herself presentable, then you can see that the charm of the married life sustains. But if that is broken and things go on as if nothing has happened, gradually, this man goes out and tries to find the charm outside. And then the woman is crying. Kaise gure hobe? There cannot be any gure, because the reasons for gure is absent. Because you don't make yourself presentable. You always are for him in the simplest dress. We know that you want to cook, we know that you must serve, but there are times when you present yourself to your husband in the best possible manner. And then Imam alayhi salam said, now listen, for man, for the husband, there are three things also. That he must display understanding and love for the wife, so that he wins her over once and for all. Once and for all. When we were in school, you are told, marriage is give and take, give and take. But marriage has taught me, at least, that it is more of giving than taking. It's not give and take. It is more of giving than taking. When the wife is alone, it is give and take. Inshallah, when the children are born, then you will know as to how much of giving is there. First thing is al-muwafaqa. You must create understanding and conformity so that you win her desires, her love, her affection totally. First. Second thing, your akhlaq at home must be good. وَحُسْنُ خُلْقِكَ مَعَهَا. Your akhlaq must be good. So much so that she will rely upon your kindness. 2. 3. That you must be always prepared to accommodate. Accommodate her. That means there can be some demand where you find that it is out of your reach. But sometimes accommodate her so that she may know that despite her shortcomings, despite your problems, you have some particular soft corner for him. And finally, when Imam al-Islam was leaving, he said, and may I tell you something? People said, Yabna Rasulullah, what is it? He said, the way I told you that the wife must be presentable, the husband also must be presentable. I just said that one likes to look his own face into the mirror before saying so and so is beautiful or not. In the same way, if wife has got to be presentable, then the husband has got to be presentable. He must take bath, huh? Yes. He must take bath. Apply some perfume. Make yourself presentable. Even if you are having a beard, at least don't let it grow luxuriously like jungles. It is properly trimmed. You make yourself presentable. When the Prophet said this, and there are many things I can't speak of in Mimbar, but make yourself presentable. I mean, it can't be one way. If you are expecting her to be presentable, then you also have got to be as much handsome as you may be. But try to look handsome to her.